firearms industry is so large that each gun has a community of fans and critics. Sometimes heated debates about the gun with the best features and capabilities can break out. But when debating the capacities of a firearm, a shooter or fan needs to be very logical and straightforward. Each gun has its advantages the same way they have their downsides.
The debate between AK-47, AKS, AKM, and Type 56 has existed for the longest time. Although these guns are mainly related to the AK-47, there have always been arguments about which is better. Welcome to the US Marines channel. This video will give you an unbiased breakdown of AK-47, AKS, AKM, and Type 56 capabilities. Before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's dive in. The AK-47 is among the most popular and widely used firearms ever created. The AK-47 is officially known as Automat Kalashnikova, and the design dates back as early as 1945. The name of the person who designed this gun was Mikhail Kalashnikov from Russia. Between 1946 and 1948, the AK-47 had to undergo several military trials to determine whether it was good for the Russian army. Finally, in 1948, the fixed stock version was introduced in some minor parts of the Russian army. Then in 1949, it was officially accepted as an assault rifle for the Soviet Union Army. Because of its superiority back then, Soviet soldiers soon became fond of the gun. The AK-47 was designed to be a simple assault rifle that could be manufactured cheaply and fast. At the same time, it has to have some of the top qualities to suit the requirements of the Soviet Union Army. The long stroke gas system this gun uses allows it to be reliable even in unfavorable conditions. The tapered cartridge case design and large gas piston allow the foreign matter to stick to the AK-47 without affecting its effectiveness. As an assault rifle, the AK-47 bullet is quite effective for penetration. While shooting this gun, it can penetrate into things that opponents can use as cover. An opponent hiding behind heavy foliage, walls, or a typical vehicle's metal body can still be shot by the AK-47. While shooting from the AK-47, it can either be semi-automatic or automatic. Using the semi-automatic mode, the shooter must press the trigger and it only takes one shot at a time. But in fully automatic mode, the shooter only needs to hold the trigger and it will empty its magazine. Note that the AK-47 features a gas-operated and closed rotating bolt. The barrel of the AK-47 is quite a beauty to behold. It features a chrome-lined bore and 4 right-hand grooves for more effective and accurate shooting. The muzzle of the AK-47 was designed for the integration of other components in the gun. This assault rifle uses a notched rear tangent iron sight calibrated to 100 meters. It can also be increased to go from 100 to 800 meters. The magazine of the AK-47 gives the shooter room for options, but the standard magazine has only 30 rounds. Then, depending on the shooter's preference, they can decide to use the 10, 20, and 40 round box magazine. In fact, there's even a 75 drum magazine available for this assault rifle. AKS. The Kalashnikov AKS was a gun that was derived from the AK-47. But when you compare the two, there are no significant differences except that there's now a folding steel butt on the AKS. Nevertheless, a simple change like this can still affect the whole performance of a gun. This particular feature made the AKS create its own niche in the military. This feature enabled the gun to add tactical flexibility as it could be folded to save space whenever needed. This made this gun to be particularly popular among airborne and vehicle paratroopers. They needed as much space as possible while carrying out their missions. Despite the folding steel butt, it didn't change the original functionality of the AKS. It was still easy to use and quite lethal, like the AK-47. Many of the features found in the AK-47 can still be seen in the AKS. Like the AK-47, the AKS still featured the standard 30-round magazine. However, other rounds of magazines can be integrated if needed. For performance, the AKS is relatively better than the AK-47 in a few aspects. The number of rounds the AKS can fire per minute is quite higher than that of the AK-47. The AKS can fire up to 775 rounds per minute, while the AK-47 can only fire 600 rounds per minute. The AKS uses a gas-operated system featuring a gas cylinder and gear-driven piston for this type of action. AKM. The AKM is almost the same as the AK-47, but has some improvements in most components. Like most assault rifles, you can decide to use this gun semi-automatic or automatic modes. The improvements that were made to the AKM made it cheaper and faster for mass production. One of the most prominent changes was that the AK-47's milled still receiver was replaced by the AKM. The producers of the AKM replaced the still receiver with a U-shaped steel stamping. The major effect of this change on the AKM was that the gun's weight was reduced. Compared to the standard AK-47, the weight of the standard AKM was decreased by about 1 kilogram. Also, the accuracy of the AKM while engaging in the automatic fire was increased, the same with reliability in unfavorable conditions. Nevertheless, some of the AK-47 properties were retained in this gun. The two guns have the same cyclic rate of fire at 600 rounds per minute. Also, the muzzle velocity is the same at 715 meters a second. The length at which a shooter will get effective firing from AK-47 and the AKM stands at 350 meters. The AK-47's chrome-lined barrel was also retained, as often characterized by many Russian assault rifles. The AKM's receiver is quite different from that of the AK-47. It is stamped from a smooth 1mm or 0.04 inch sheet of steel, and this is a very different build from what the AK-47 offers. The AK-47, on the other hand, uses a receiver machined from a solid block of steel. The bolt carrier assembly is quite different from the AK-47. The handle of the bolt carrier is slimmed down, and the firing pin is also flat. The stock AKM uses is made from birch plywood, making it resistant to warping, Type 56. In simple terms, the Type 56 can be referred to as the Chinese version of the AK-47. However, unlike the AK-47, which became a standard infantry weapon, the Type 56 was made to become SMG. Despite being the direct copy of the AK-47, the Type 56 is often distinguished from the former by the fully enclosed hooded front sight. The receiver of the Type 56 is closer to the RPK gun than the AKM or AK-47. This assault rifle has a 1.6mm stamped receiver, while the AKM has a 1mm receiver. Not only that, the riveting pattern is much more similar to the RPK than the AKM or AK-47. The Type 56 barrel has many combinations of the AK-47 and AKM. The barrel is very similar to the AK-47, but heavier than the AKM's. The only similarity it has with the AKM regarding the barrel is that it is pinned in like the AKM. The threaded muzzle found on the AK-47 and AKM isn't on the Type 56, a huge difference between them. This missing feature means this assault rifle can't use an AKM compensator or blank firing device. This gun's performance is quite different from what is found in the AKS, but it is kind of similar to the AK-47 and AKM. The rate of fire for this assault rifle is around 650 rounds per minute. This is quite far from the 750 rounds per minute in the AKS, but it is close to 600 rounds per minute in AK-47 and AKM. The muzzle velocity is also different at 735 meters a second. Undoubtedly, this effective firing range of the Type 56 gives many more options than others. The effective firing range is between 300 and 400 meters.
And we have come to the end of this amazing video. Please don't forget to leave a comment about your best rifle among the 4. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell button to receive more videos like this.